Oh, hello, hello, beautiful people. Let's get this started. Awesome, awesome. Welcome, welcome. We're gonna just wait a couple minutes until some folks come on in. Let's see who is coming in the room. I'm stuffed here in the right-hand corner of your screen. If you could see me and see the screen, say so in the chat. Say, I see you, I hear you. Welcome, welcome. We're going to get started in just a few minutes as people roll on in here with their cups of coffee in hand and your pens and papers or iPads or whatever you like to sketch on. Welcome, welcome, Marla. Welcome, Lee. Uh, if you're here already and you can see the chat, just type in the chat where you're coming in from and what company you're with. That would be great. All right, all right. Playing with the tech here a little bit. Hello, welcome. Welcome, Dan. What's going on? Marla's from Little Rock. Welcome, welcome. What's the weather like in Little Rock? Welcome, Theodore. Welcome, welcome. Awesome. I am so excited. Love you guys that you've taken the time to invest in your business here. This is such an awesome SKO masterclass we're going to jump into here. Arlington, Virginia, Lee, welcome. It's cold where you are. Absolutely, Marla. It's cold here in New York, too. So welcome. Type in the chat where you're coming in from, what your business is. Got Dania, Sam, Michael. Type in the chat where you're coming in from, and we're going to get started in just a couple minutes. Yes, yes. Really, I'm so excited. Type in the chat where you're coming in from and what business you're with. We're going to get started just to make sure some people get in this session. I'm tucked here in the corner of your screen. Welcome, Dean. Glad you can join us. I'm just leaning over here to see the other screen. Who is here? Awesome. John, Eric, welcome, welcome. Type in the chat area where you're coming in from. We're not going to put anybody but myself on audio or video here so you can relax and let your hair down. This is about having an amazing breakthrough conversation for your business so you can really relax into this. It's going to be an experience. It's going to be awesome. I'm so excited you guys are here. Just want to wait another minute for folks to come in. Eric, John, Dean, Larry, Sam, Michael, Theodore, welcome, welcome. Type in the chat, where are you coming in from? And we are going to get started. I'm tucked in the corner. Type in the chat. Could you hear me and see me okay? Yeah, thumbs up if you can see me okay. Type in thumbs up. Uh, good. We're good. We're good. All right. All right. Thumbs up. Thumbs up. Awesome. Awesome. All right. All right. So let us get started. So listen, this is a workshop really for CEOs or leading innovative companies. And type in the chat here so that you can get the most value here. Explain your innovation in 12 words or less, like in one sentence. Type in the chat, what is your innovation? What is it all about? So we can get acquainted. Type in your chat. We've got Dania, Jeff, Marie, Larry, Eric, John, Dean, Sam, Michael, Theodore, Marla, Lee. Type in the chat, what is your innovation? Or if you ever play the game Uno, you are basically draw 25 cards. We don't want you to draw 25 cards here, but it is a hard thing to do. All right, great. Innovating IT and telecom, access to the best medical minds in the world. Very cool. All right, so we're going to jump into the 2024 Sales Enablement SKO Masterclass for growth worried CEOs, 5 shifts to boost sales even in noisy markets. And every market is noisy right now. I want to just take a minute and honor you for taking time to work on your business. We're going to be having right now, me and you are going to be having a conversation, and we're going to have some breakthroughs here. And I want you to have breakthroughs for your business. So because we know hype and brag marketing isn't working. I just been coming across this meme tons of times. I'm sure you are as well. And I don't want this to happen to you, where you're spending oodles of money on rebranding your website and it's doing nothing for sales. I hope this happened to you, did not happen to you. If this has happened to you recently, give me a thumbs down in the chat, or just give me a, I don't know, 666 sign of the devil. Welcome, Greg and Larry. Just looking at the chat here, participants. Awesome, awesome. So, some of the CEOs that have come to similar master classes in the past have applied some of these shifts, or all of them, and have seen sales triple and their business grow in many different directions, including actually enable their organization to get investment. So, powerful messages are starting really with powerful perspectives, and that's what this workshop is going to be about today. Because if you think about it, your innovation, then we're going to be talking about today, and I want you to be typing in the chat really what your innovation's about. Your innovation is awesome, but it's here. It's in your mind, in your business, with your team. And then if you put on the other side of the fence, all your ideal prospects becoming customers, if you think about what stands in the way of all those ideal prospects becoming customers, type in the chat here if you know what stands in the way. What stands in the way of your innovation actually being used, and your ideal customers and prospects benefiting from the massive innovation that you're offering? Type in the chat, what is standing in the way? This is a masterclass, so I've got some ground rules I'm going to share in a minute. Paralyzed by the idea of change. I love that. I love that, Meg. So that was Dania, Meg, putting it in the hands of their off, putting it in the hands to offer them feedback. So just getting a visibility. Too many other priorities customer have. Yes, yes. So we're going to be talking about some shifts today about your message, and how really it's your message that if it's not getting to them and it's not resonating with them, then sadly nothing is going to happen in 2024, and you should be worried about growth. So shift number 5, hint, we're going to be talking about AI. And so if you think AI is overhyped, my belief is actually underhyped. And we're going to be talking about something today that you should be doing already if you're not now. All right. So just give me a number from 1 to 5 in the chat here. How are you feeling about your 2024 sales pipeline? You know, you could be feeling awesome. Give me a number. How are you feeling about your 20? So we got a 3, a 1, a 5, a 3, 2. We're a little bit all over the map. We got an 8. Awesome. I'm so glad to see that. 7 business is a 4. Awesome. Okay. Another question here. How well do you think your message cutting through the noise in your customer's world? 5 would be like it's really doing great. It's getting to them. 1 being not so much. All right, we got a 1, we got a 3, a 2. Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. All right, so if your story isn't simple, clear, and compelling, sadly you're toast. And this is part of the shifts that we're going to be talking about today. And I hope that this hasn't happened to you, where you've rebranded your website and it's done nothing for sales. Because if you don't have your homepage, and you call it your website, if you will, doing the heavy lifting of your conversations you need to be having, your sales will suffer, your salespeople will suffer, and you will have prospects showing up not predisposed to buy, but doing other things. So I've been let down by marketing too. Hiring a CMO before. I don't know if anyone here has done that, and they spent a lot of time just listening, talking to customers. Maybe by month 9 you have a rebranded website, and by month 13 you're probably firing them, and that's just statistics. Because most marketers haven't sold a thing in their lives, and they really don't know what conversations need to be had in the sales process. So marketing as hype, and a lot of chief marketing officers or chief hype officers, they fail because this doesn't work in markets like yours that are flooded with solutions. And even if your markets aren't flooded with solutions, you've got customers that are being flooded by all sorts of information, and it's just getting lost. And if you look at like some of the language that you may be using with in your website, like just consider what Google is seeing for SEO descriptions. It's just language that it doesn't mean anything. Like collaborate, communicate, commit, care, like better, faster. Like, What is all this nonsense? All right, so that's just a little precursor. We're going to jump into the 2024 Sales Enablement SKO Masterclass for you guys. So, a couple ground rules that I want to lay out here. Number one is that this is not for spectators. So, if you're here right now, you're on my time, I'm on your time. Let's make sure that we have these conversations together. This is for action takers. So, definitely type in the chat your thinking. I want you to get a lot out of here. Ground rule number two, I will challenge you. After this discussion, you will never be able to look at your homepage the same again. That is going to happen. If you can't handle it, bow out. There will be no replay. There may be an encore, but no replay. I'll be giving away two things. One, at the end of this, a PDF of the proven framework that has sold hundreds of millions of dollars of solutions. You're going to be able to emulate that for your homepage conversion site. I will also be giving away an OpenAI GPT homepage evaluator link that you could use to get a 12-point assessment with recommendations using generative AI, using GPT, but it's using a GPT that I have trained from the 12-point magnetic messaging framework that's also in my book. And that's a huge value because it's a great starting point for you to make some changes. So another ground rule here, I am not going to pitch you. No pitch session here, absolutely none. But at the end, I'll be offering to help 5 CEOs make these 5 shifts. There will be an opportunity to book a free marketing and sales assessment audit here, and that's going to happen at the end. Does that sound fair to you? So just give me a yes in the chat if that sounds fair. All right. Yes, yes, yes. And I'm just going to make sure that this thing works. So in the upper right-hand corner, I'm going to share not the handout yet. Let me hide the handout. Let me share the offer. So next to the chat, you should see the offer button. Just give me a yes if you see the offer button, because that's should show up at the end. Hello, Yigal. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Participants, we've got Yigal, Sasha, Dylan, Austin, Christine, Morris, Mike, Andy. Oh my gosh, Meg, Teen, Jeff, Marie. This is a great group of CEOs. Fantastic. Great. You see the offer there. So stay focused on the chat for now. I'm glad that that sounds fair. All right. So if you're here, it's likely because you are selling an innovation. You and your team have built an amazing innovation and you're revolutionizing fill in the blank, right? So type a 1 in the chat if this is you, if your organization, your team is selling an innovation and revolutionizing some aspect of your industry. All right, we got a stream of ones here. Jeff, Andy, Theodore, Mararla, Morris, Eric. Absolutely. So I got bad news for you guys. Yeah. Tell me about it. All right. It's harsh. It's like right between the eyes. All right. So let's jump into this. There's a shift that needs to be made, and we're going to talk about it. There's 5 of them. Before we do, I have had the honor and privilege to work with some unicorn CEOs that have made these shifts. And these shifts have allowed them to grow their revenue and really cut through the noise in their market. And a lot of these shifts, or the 5, are actually in this book I'm publishing uh, hopefully this month. It's in the final editing stage, called Start with the Problem: How to Grow Sales and Lead Your Category in a Market Flooded with Solutions. And you're going to see some pieces of that in the near future. Some before the shifts, one customer that we have worked with to make these shifts, stagnant growth, good salespeople leaving. The value of their innovation wasn't getting across, missing forecasts. After the shifts were made, astronomical sales. So proud of this organization that has went to grow their business. Same here. Manish missing a lot of his targets, bootstrapped with very limited runway, and could invest in the product more without customers. And they have grown exponentially since they have made these shifts. So I'm not screwing around here. These shifts are important. They're critical for you to make. I'm glad we're going to be going through them and brainstorming with you them. But these are hard shifts. Marketers are not going to do these for you, most of them, because they're just going to market all day. They're not going to take a contrarian view. You've got blind spots, and these shifts will help you overcome those blind spots. A lot of marketers are using outdated frameworks that don't work. Alternatives that your prospects are buying still rule the day, because that's what they're buying today, not which is probably status quo, not buying your solution, and a lot of inside baseball language, wasting money on bad marketing. And I know that the stakes are high. Half businesses will fail in 5 years. That's not me. I read this in the New York Times just last week. 3,200 private venture-backed companies have gone out of business in 2023. That's massive. These were venture-backed US companies. In our own email marketing, we have seen bounces from companies like Smart Cyber and SoyDigi who have closed operations. So why did they close? It's not that their product wasn't awesome or innovative. It is because their message failed. All right. The best person isn't going to save you. They're going to quit. I know that I quit the sales job that I had working for a software company because their marketing messaging failed me and failed the company. ChatGPT won't save you because it's garbage in, garbage out, but we are going to talk about how it can or help. Real quick about who am I? I'm Greg Rosner, the CEO of pitchkitchen.com. I'm a fractional CMO right now for 3 organizations, but my agency offers packaged services in 90-day sprints to help organizations make these shifts and create sales generating assets. I've worked on a ton of pitch decks and presentations and website development, website design that have helped companies earn hundreds of millions of dollars. And I've also trained salespeople on the new way to sell, which is around having 12 conversations. All right, so type in the chat here, who is your ideal customer? Type in the chat, who is your ideal customer? I want you to keep your ideal customer with your arm around them in a virtual conference room. This is who we need to have in mind today. And I know you sell to different profiles and different people, but put them all in the conference room and describe, in generally speaking, who they are. Type in the chat now who they are. Concierge, medics and doctors, not averse to change, academic medical centers, Theodore. Great, I'm glad it's that clear. Type in the chat who you're selling to, because how well you understand who your customer is actually your biggest competitive advantage. Towns and counties, C-suite, C-suite level in financial services. Great, tech-savvy marketers, city administrators, CISOs, CIOs, boards. All right, welcome, Terrence. Type in the chat, who is your ideal customer? All right, great. So who is this for, this session, this masterclass, SKO? It's for CEOs bringing innovation to the market, CEOs committed to the vision, hope you are. If you need to be early stage or growth stage companies that perhaps are stuck or worried about growth, CEOs whose success depends on getting prospects to change. Now, lastly, you have to be able to invest time and money into the business. And if you're here today, I want to honor you for investing time into your business because this is what it's going to take. So my promise to you in the next 45 minutes, we're going to discuss how to nail your sales message. And what I mean by your sales message, the narrative that is on your homepage and every bit of your marketing material, your proposals, your emails, your social, everything. Even if your solution is sophisticated, complicated, and needs to be demoed in order for your prospects to see it, understand it. We're going to, my promise to you is how to turn your sales presentations into buying conversations. Even if your prospects weren't even looking for your solution, why it's game over for traditional website copywriting, how to close more deals faster, and how to attract ideal customers into your pipeline. All right, this is my promise to you. And also my promise is you're going to get the magnetic messaging framework, which I developed based on research and a ton of experience of what needs to be there to create the building blocks for buy-in when a prospect shows up on your website because they heard about you at a conference, or maybe even you made a cold call or whatever you did to get them to come to your home site. Forget SEO for a moment. The building blocks to have them understand what you do, why you're selling it, what problem does it solve, what do you want them to do, what's your credibility, authority. All of that has to be answered in like 9 seconds and in an easy scroll. And this is what you're going to get at the end of this as a giveaway. All right. So let's get into this. Is this you? Before we get into the 5 shifts, first of all, are you guys psyched to jump in to have these 5 shifts? Are you open to looking at this fresh? All right. I'm not asking you to accept any of these ideas or reject them, but are you open to looking at this fresh? Give me a 1 in the chat if you are. All right. Andy, Meg, Morris, awesome. Terrence, Dylan. All right, Lee. So is this you? You've got an amazing solution. Your customers love you, but most of the market hasn't even heard of you, and many of your prospects confuse you or your solution with things that are nothing like it. Give me a 2 in the chat if that is you. If you and your sales team are working so hard at explaining, demoing, configuring what your solution is, yet your customers still at the end of that aren't really clear on how it's going to benefit them. If what you're selling should be a no-brainer, yet for a lot of people, it is a brainer for some reason. You just don't seem to be missing something there as to why it is a brainer for them. You have a marketer spending a lot of money on marketing or doing a lot of marketing that isn't turning into sales. You've got a lot of demos on the calendar. You're doing maybe a shit ton of demos, but they're not converting into sales even 6 months later. You have read all these amazing books like This is Marketing, Seth Godin. Oh my gosh, legend, love the man. Donald Miller, Building a Story Brand, fantastic. Gap Selling, Keenan, mind blowing. You've read these books before, but then if you stop and look at your website, those revelations that you've had in those books haven't actually made its way to your sales message, your marketing, then you're in the right place. If your sales people are telling different stories, maybe some are saying we're the best, or some are saying we're the only, but you're missing a single narrative for them, a story for them to tell. And perhaps you're even afraid to invest in more salespeople because you don't have that piece nailed. If you're spending money on graphics and website people and social and PPC, but missing a single clear and compelling story that attracts your ideal customers in the mix, then you haven't made these shifts. If your sales presentation looks more like a math textbook and you're sending sales presentations perhaps out and not hearing a reply, if the language that you're using on your website sounds like this, like software platform drives transparent, data-driven decisions that like, oh my gosh, what the hell is this saying? I have no idea. Creating innovative workflow technologies that drive high, I mean, oh my God, you know, please push me over the edge here. I mean, it just, if your words that you're using to describe your innovation are self-ascribed, and I don't even know if ascribed is a word, but you're using language like, um, the leader or unified solution or best in class. If you're doing this, you have not made the shifts in your sales messaging. If you're getting from people, I like what you're saying, but we didn't really get any of that from your website. My sales presentation is a Frankendeck, for example, yours could be. If shoving more information at your prospects, like case studies and calculators and full feature demos, isn't helping them convert, you haven't made these shifts. If your sales messaging, you're thinking it cannot be simple and easy because your solution is so complex, you haven't made these shifts. If you're losing many deals to this is great, but sometime maybe in the future or never, you're in the right place. Now, listen, I've got good news for you. Um, well, first of all, before I hand the good news, how many of you are suffering from one or more of those situations? Just give me a 666. That's like the devil sign in the chat. 666. We got Meg, Morris, Larry, Theodore, Marla, Sam, Austin. Yeah, yeah, this is the thing. So I got good news here for all the devil signs out there. Those are symptoms. And the real problem is you haven't made the shifts. You haven't made these 5 shifts, and we're going to cover them today, and I want you to make them. Once you do, You're going to have complete confidence in every dollar you spend. You're going to lead your category in a category of one with better qualification and more closed deals. Your leadership team will finally be aligned around a message that everyone is excited about, top down across the business, and it will show up in all of your marketing assets. You will be able to create tons, a torrent of 100% on-brand content easily, cheaply, everywhere, every month without hiring anyone new. I mean, that's such a tall promise. I can't believe I'm saying it, but it's a breakthrough. Attract ideal prospects showing up predisposed and ready to buy. All right, so let's get into this. Number one, the first shift that you need to make is to lead a movement. Lead a movement. If you know what I mean by this, begin typing in the chat what you think I mean. But here I'm going to ask you a few questions. So, are you selling an innovation? Yes, you are. If so, what change does your innovation challenge? Or what does your innovation challenge? Or what change does your innovation require? Type in the chat if you know that. If you're selling an innovation, you must know what does your innovation challenge. Okay? So just saying you're different just makes you different. It's sad, but it's true. You can't just say you're different. I mean, look at what Salesforce.com did. They led a rebellion in, what was it, 2008. The end of software, kill software. They were challenging the notion of needing software. They're moving to the cloud. So Theodore, looking to change. No technology supporting international remote medicine. Great. Meg, challenging the status quo of population-based statistics. Love that. So you got to be clear about what you're challenging, because if you're just selling your solutions, think about it. You're the enemy. You're the enemy of the status quo. But the good news is your ideal customers, their biggest enemy is the status quo too. So you need to find out who they are. So if you're pitching, if your message is taking this older approach, which is making claims of why your solution is the best, why it's the best, and here's why, versus taking an approach of more encouraging the change, like a rebel leader might, saying, look, the old way is dead, and here's why. The world has changed, and winners are taking this new approach, and guess what? It's game over for the rest. This is a very much more powerful way to sell in 2020. And you need to make this shift. So type in the chat here, what are you rebelling against? It's probably the villain or the villain of your story, which is also the villain of your customer story. What change does your innovation require? Type that in the chat. Mike, I think local government still has that sign up. Yeah. Higher wages. Yeah, that's what you're rebelling against, I guess. I'm not sure. Type in the chat, what are you rebelling against? What's your contrarian ideology? You got to have one. In order to stand out, we have to know what we stand for. Simon Sinek says it. I got my arm around him here. So, what are you telling your ideal customers to stop? Just stop it. Stop doing this. And what are you telling them to start doing? This is language that will help you get clear on the movement that you need to make. So my movement, what I'm trying to help you guys do is stop hype marketing. Stop with the brag marketing. It doesn't work. I'm helping you guys lead a movement instead. It's much better. It's much better because it creates this thought leadership. It creates the third point of the triangle where you've got you or your solution, your company, you've got your customer in the other corner and their business. And then the third point is the new way, the better approach. So the people who aren't enrolled in this journey, they're going to ignore you. So that's okay. You can forget about them. Here's a couple really good examples that speak to this transformation. Azuba turned fragmented communications into meaningful conversations. And so what Azuba is rebelling against is the idea that organizations have fragmented communications with their systems. All right, so sales is an act of leadership. If you agree with this, give me a 1 in the chat. Sales is an act of leadership. The salespeople you hire should be helping your customers in making their change. So if that's the case, You guys have to lead a movement. Great, great. So lead a frickin' uprising, lead a frickin' rebellion. I'm all down with working with CEOs that want to lead a rebellion against the old way. This is how you stand out in a noisy market. Need to make this shift. So I'm not a big advocate of any CEO doing a TED Talk, because TED Talks don't typically end up in people doing anything different, but it gets people thinking differently. But what would your TED Talk be about? It clearly would be about a of what your ideal folks need to stop doing and start doing. So look what the Airbnb has there on their homepage. Live anywhere. Live anywhere. Two words, two anywhere, but it starts with a verb and it calls everybody or their customers to the place, this almost aspirational place that they want to go. And this is the aspect of leading a movement. And look at some of these hashtags that you know so well from the political one. I'm not a big Donald Trump fan. I'm not a fan at all, but I'm a big fan of great marketing. You know the power of a great story. What do all of these have in common, from Nike's Just Do It to the Wall Street Journal's Trust Your Source to Eat with Purpose, which is Chopped, the store, the salad store? What do all of these hashtags or leader movements have in common? See if you can, to tell that. And if you can, you're halfway there in understanding what's needed to make this shift. Type in the chat, what do all of these have in common? Yeah, they are inspiring. Why are they inspiring? More specifically, yes, they are emotional. But why are they emotional? They share a vision to be better. Who said that? That's Mike. Abso-freaking-lutely. They share a clear vision of to their ideal customers, not to everybody, not to everybody. Like, for my grandmother's not interested in just doing it. Past my grandmother passed, but you know, yeah, so it's for their ideal customers what they want to do, and it's encouraging them to do it. It's a Larry, a call to action. Yes, because if you think about it, when you're leading a movement, if the movement is actually action, it's getting folks to change. All right, so what is your buyer's mission statement? So this is not a customer, this is not your mission statement. This is a mission statement you need to craft for your ideal customers, and it's typically 3 to 5 words. So if you know what that is, you will have made the first shift, complete. So type in the chat, give me your 3 to 5 words at a hashtag, and next to that, type in what your business is, so we have some context. Because if you say just do it, and then you say we sell coffee, that may not make so much sense. Okay, so type in what your 3 to 5 hashtags is, and it's okay if you haven't. This is the first shift, but just give it a shot. I'm just curious where you guys are at, where you are at with this first shift. help me stop Help me stop being overwhelmed. Now that's a cry for help, but it also makes your customer the victim of the story, and you never want to do that. You want to make them the hero. We'll talk about that in a minute. So peace of mind, Morris, I would say no, Morris, because that is a steady state. That is not a call to action. Marie, transcript, no, it doesn't mean anything to me. So listen, this shift takes some work and takes some time. It should sound like a battle cry, like you're out there in the field with Arnold, whatever. I'm a big Arnold fan, by the way. So it should sound like a battle cry. You're there in the field of battle and you are calling them to do something. All right, look at Zoom Info, their 3-word rebellion, and I'm calling out the wonderful book by Dr. Michelle Mazur here, Hit Your Number. Wonderful. So they're selling data. Zoom Info, data. They're not saying buy our data. They're saying hit your number. Type in a 2 if that makes sense to you as to why you need to lead a movement, and we'll wrap up this section. Yes, love that. Okay, great. Dominate your market. So marketing is about action. Marketing is about change, not promotion. Nobody likes to change. It comes down to risk. We're going to be talking about this concept in the second shift, that you're going to look at your prospects, and a lot of folks, the risk of changing is too great for them in this movement. But a lot of folks you talk to and your marketing hits, the risk of doing nothing is too much for them to bear. And you're the enemy of those people, by the way, because you're selling something that requires change. All right. Bad news. Some of you here aren't going to make it. I want you to make it. I want everybody here to make it because it's that important that your innovation get through to the people that really can deserve to do better because of it. Jeff Aronson, CEO of QuipX, before he made these shifts, pipeline thin, letting key partners down, losing the seals to no decision. This is his bad website before. There's nothing's wrong with the design. It looks pretty, but it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't get people to do anything to get sales. After he made the shifts, tripled revenue, 6x pipeline in just 4 months. Partners are able to sell easily and very, very grateful that his vision for the business is materializing. So you can see here why it's better. Again, from the story, it's very clear the call to action, what the benefit is, and what the movement is to get rid of the underutilized equipment and become an optimized health system. All right, so if this makes sense to you, type in the chat, makes sense, and we will get to the second shift. Let's go, Larry, Marla, Terrence. I'm going to move even faster now. Quick. The coffee is just kicking in. Meg, Dania, Terrence. Awesome, awesome. Number 2, start with the problem. All right. So why not start with your solution? Why not do that? This is one image I'll give to you. So why not start with your solution? Type in the chat. Why isn't it a good idea to start with your solution? Hey, Richard, welcome. Why isn't it a good idea to start with your solution? Yeah, they don't care about your solution. Yeah, they don't care about it. Yeah, just looking at the chat here. No point in a solution. People care about, but what do you see about in this picture here, right? You want the customer to feel the pain first. Yeah, it's just noise. It's noise. Your solution is noise. Here's the reality check. And I'm saying this not just because I'm from New York, but here's the reality. You guys sitting down for this? Nobody really cares about your company, your solution, your business, when your business was founded, how, what your, the story about your solution. What do people really care about? Your ideal customers. Type in the chat. What do your ideal customers really care about? Just looking in the chat here. I'm going to thumbs down. What do they care about? Thumbs up. How it can help them make money, how you can help them. Absolutely. So starting with a solution doesn't work anymore. Why? Because it doesn't answer these questions. Why should I change as your customer? Why should I change now? And why should I change with you? So the old way to pitch is you're starting with your solution. You have a solution, we have you have a problem, we have a solution, and you'd say things like, we help companies generate more leads. We help companies achieve this goal. Right? For example, it's just an example. If you were selling lead generation, right? But starting with the problem, it says, well, we help companies who are struggling with lead generation. That is the new way. It's starting with the problem. If this is making sense to you, give me a 1 in the chat. It's flipping it upside down. It's flipping the script. So you're not starting with the problem. So Jeffrey Moore wrote a book about crossing the chasm, and I wrote the book called Start with the Problem. And it's really about looking at your customers, your prospects, and ignoring a bunch of them, educating some of them, influencing a lot of them, but encouraging to buy the ones who the risk of doing nothing is greater than the risk of changing. If this is making sense to you, give me a 1 in the chat. So like a bad CPA marketing message might be accounting for the pace of change. That doesn't do anything. It's leading with solution. I don't even know what that's leading with. Bennett Thrasher, great company. Actually, we help them turn this stuff around. But good CPA is saying many people overpay taxes. We can put an end to that. We can help you put an end to that. And that is a message that's going to hit people who the risk of doing nothing, which is they're feeling like they're overpaying in taxes, is greater than the risk of people who are thinking that we don't want to change CPAs. So this is a picture of their new website, moving away from the accounting for the risk, accounting for the pace of change or some BS like that, to getting the right advice, getting the right different kinds of advice that the CPA firms works. And that first sentence there speaks about helping organizations with their problem, which is saving money, making money, and mitigating risk that they're dealing with. So type in the comments below, because you got to be really clear about what the number one problem your prospective customers have. So yes, I know your customers have different problems, but can you type in the chat, what's the number one problem your prospective customers have? What's the problem? Let's see what you got. This is a little bit of a trick question because I want you guys to get this second shift really under your skin. Don't know what they have in their IT. They have finite time, reducing labor costs, and theft. All right, so Larry, I'm going to hit up on you for a second. Reducing labor costs and theft, is that a problem? Or is that a goal? Larry, this question is for you. Larry, is reducing labor cost and theft a goal or a problem? Type in for me. Yes, it's not a problem. So type in, I'm pointing at you out, Larry. Type in the chat, what's the number one problem your prospective customers have? All right, so Dean, budget. I don't know what that means, budget. Like they don't have enough of it, they have too much of it. Like, what does that mean? Morris, having the money available in time for payroll. So is that a goal or is that a problem, Morris? I'm not sure. So Theodore, lack of efficiency for physicians. So that's a little bit vague, but it does allude to a problem. There's inefficient doctors, maybe? I don't know. All right, so as you can see from the chat here, this is not that easy. And there's a few reasons why this isn't easy, because you're looking at the world from your own eyes and your own innovations perspective. But this is a shift that you need to make in order for you to be successful in your sales message. Because facts aren't going to change people's minds. I don't think so. You can tell people all sorts of facts about what your solution does. Is that enough for people to buy? Give me a 9 in the chat if you just tell people facts, that's enough for your prospects to buy. Give me a 9 if you think that's enough. If it's not enough, give me a no. Just no, it's not enough in the chat. No, it's not. It's not. Yeah. So nobody cares about your why, and people often will be confused on your homepage and your messaging if you're talking a lot about your solution. And if someone's confused, your ideal prospect, they're just going to bounce. They're going to say no. So this is the principle that I ascribe to, which is that your prospects and people like you and I, we believe in things that we are ourselves, we decide, not what we're told. At least this works for me, and it probably works for you as well. So if this is how you can weave in the problem shift. If you can describe their problem better than they can even describe it themselves, they will automatically believe that you have the best solution. Now, won't they? Yeah. Now, I'm not trying to be passive aggressive here. I can ask this question to you and say, well, if you can describe their problem better than they can, what do you think? What opinion would they have of your solution? Type in the chat, what opinion would they have of your solution if you can describe their problem much better than they can? Yep. Yep. Right. It solves their problem. It's valued. Yeah, valued. Right. So that's why if you start with your solution, you're not valued. If you start with the problem, you are. Your solution is valued. So look at ReadyWorks. Fantastic. Oh my gosh, big transformation here. Wonderful. Patience before paper. Love that. Guess where they started with the problem here? The problem is hospitals are forcing their doctors and nurses to get in front of laptops and push paper instead of spending time with their patients. And that's just because of legacy systems. ReadyWorks is selling a technology that helps doctors and nurses spend more time with patients than with paper. What a beautiful, simple way to describe it. And this is a thread, a narrative that is in every word, in every proposal, every social of ReadyWorks Health. All right, so if starting with the problem makes sense, give me a 1 in the chat and we will unlock number 3. Theodore, Meg, Andy, Larry, Morris, Marla, Dean, and there's a lot of other people here that are hiding. And I don't know if you got the ground rules here. Christine, Richard, Carlos, Terrence, Dylan, Austin, Michael, Lee. I see you guys lurking here. The ground rules are to participate. So unless you're driving or flying at 30,000 feet, there's no excuse. I want you guys participating here to help you make the shifts. All right. Number three, third shift, make your customer the hero. Now, this sounds great, doesn't it? Oh, yeah, yeah, we should make the customer the hero. Yeah, they're absolutely the hero. But let's be honest. What is your homepage obsessed with? Mirror, mirror on the wall. Please type in the chat. What is your current homepage obsessed with? Just type it in. Hey, Sasha, what's going on? Type in the chat, what is your homepage obsessed with? Maybe put it this way, what is your homepage in love with? What is your homepage in love with? Yes. Mirror, mirror on the wall. So are we the villain of the story? Oh shit, um what a inception moment we're having right now. What is your homepage in love with? Okay, could type that in the chat for a bit. Got it. Oh, no. All right, so this is the shift, and also digging this deeper. CEOs say, "Yeah, let's do that," and every marketer on planet Earth says, "I can do that for you." Fact is, very few know how to do this, and we all know what a website looks like when it's in love with your solution versus in love with me, your customer, and goals. And it's because this hero journey is at play. That when your customers are really the hero, and you need to position them as such. You can't position Acuity here as positioning themselves as the hero, that they're the ones bringing clarity to risk. Oh gosh, who cares? So who's the hero on your page right now, homepage, in your marketing, in your proposals, in your messaging? If you're using any language like this, it's mirror, mirror on the wall for you. So look at in MailChimp. I just saw this today. Love this. Turn emails into revenue. And so they're telling me when I'm the hero here, because I'm their customer, to do something. And this is 4 words. And they're saying, turn my emailing into something that actually makes money versus just emailing. So this is wonderful, clear messaging. You can see how it shows up for them. Here's a bad example. So this is a company selling some really cool, innovative AI stuff. But from looking at this website, all you see is AI stuff. Like they're selling some kind of AI thing, creating a better world for tomorrow. Who cares? So what? What is this? I don't care. Right? This is the same company, IPMD. They are selling technology. It's a it's a technology that helps doctors get informed by their patient's emotional condition with a telemedicine platform. Very cool. I get it. It speaks to me. If you go back here, this doesn't speak to me. This does, because it makes the customer the hero. All right, so we're gonna fly through this. There are so much, the old way, the voice, your voice is saying why we're the best. The new voice is how we make you better. That's the shift. Because really what you're selling is what? Selling something, a solution or innovation that helps your customers go from where they are today to where they want to go. So I think you guys are selling transformation. And that's why leading a movement, for example, makes sense. So you remember this diagram here, this is what you're dealing with. So there's some really good examples of this where you're leading that movement against the old way and you're positioning your customer as the hero, uh, inviting them to say goodbye to the thing, the spreadsheets here, and hello to the new way. And it's speaking about that transformation, and it is inviting them to make the change as the hero. Here's a quick example. Trisha from BST Perform, before she made these shifts, could not differentiate from their conversations, failing to book new conversations, missing targets in spite of Googles of money being spent on marketing. Frustrated. Afterwards, doubled sales in 3 months, and poised for acquisition today, which is really great. I remember she sent this to me. This was a post on LinkedIn where it described what she's asking her customers, or their organization's customers, to stop doing and start doing. And within minutes, actually got a booked meeting. So messaging is super important, and making your customer the hero of the story, and that's who you're in love with, works so much better than the opposite. And I've got a whole idea as to why most businesses fail on this shift, but we're not going to go into that right now. If this makes sense to you, give me a 1 in the chat so I know you guys are tracking. Sam, Meg, Larry, Austin. Welcome, Austin. Nice to see you off the sidelines, Austin. I'm going to pick on you now. Theodore, awesome. All right, so number 4, name your category. All right, brace yourselves. This is a shift to make. So look at the phone, right? So what's changed since 1990s here? Who can tell me in the chat what's changed with the category naming here? What's changed? What's changed? Type in the chat. What do you see here changing? Well, interesting. But from a messaging standpoint, tele, mobile, smart, what stayed the same, right? Type in the chat. I mean, just from a practical standpoint. Yeah, phone has stayed the same. Yeah, but the prefix has changed. So if this is the fourth shift that you should make, it's typically a prefix. Like, look what Apple is doing. In next month, they are launching something that is a new category. And they're, you could say, oh, well, they didn't invent it. Like, look at what, whoever's doing that before. Well, they didn't invent the MPEG player, MP3 player either. They invented the iPod. But they create categories and they do a damn good job of it. And all they're doing here is they're adding a prefix or a word before the thing. So here's another example, immersive dining. This is evidently a category I just came across. So it's a thing before the thing, if that makes sense. So conversation intelligence, so it's not just a certain type, it's just not intelligence, it's a certain type of intelligence. So I love this from Warren Buffett. How do you beat Bobby Fischer? You play him at any game except chess. So this is a shift you should make. What is your category? So ReadyWorks, I mentioned them before. The old way, they're fighting against the checklist that doctors and nurses are dealing with to make sure the equipment is working right in hospitals. The new way is smart forms on their mobile phones or smartphones that is allowing them to much quicker check off the equipment. And it's simple, but if you look at these organizations that have redefined categories and are very successful, look at what they've done. From old video libraries to video intelligence, from a document-driven world to information-driven, data backup to the new way, which is intelligent recovery. Equipment administration is the old way versus strategic equipment management. A PPO, preferred provider organization versus a CCO, new category from Vextra Health. We had helped them make that shift. But there's a ton of new categories, and all these organizations have done very well by making these, creating a new category for themselves. And it's typically done through a prefix. So if you guys have done this already, you made the shift, type in the chat, what is your unique category that everybody else is trying to catch up to? This is a great way to differentiate if you've made this shift. If you haven't, there's a methodology to get this done, and we can talk about it. Molecular medicine, Dataverse profits. Interesting, Terrence. Type in the chat if you've done this and what that is. All right. All right. Last shift, and we're going to go on to something really special. We're going to hand out to you guys for free. You're going to love it. You're going to use it. It'll be mind-blowing. This is the secret weapon. The secret weapon is this. An outside expert who will do 3 things: help refine your brand DNA. And I can't use brand DNA, by the way, because that's copyrighted. So we're changing that. I just can't make the change in this slide. So it's refining your message, your sales message, through facilitated interviews using the most effective framework. 2, rework your homepage, sales deck, sales marketing messaging that is conversation centric. And 3, give your brand DNA, and again, it's not called your sales message, as training data to train ChatGPT on, to generate a torrent of 100% on-brand content. Now, this is a new shift, the shift that I just did in the last 2 months, but ChatGPT didn't exist a year ago. So things are moving pretty fast, but this is a really powerful thing. If you can train GPT on your message to become the most powerful marketing sales ambassador for your business. But if you just use GPT that's not trained, it's garbage in, garbage out, and you're not going to get the result. So, but once you do get this trained with the ideal message, who you're serving, what problems they have, what do they want, what your encouragement story looks like, what's the process for them to get to use your solution to become successful, what's your thought leadership concepts and ideas. Once GPT is trained on that, it's almost like a clone of your best marketer, and it's going to be able to generate on a single prompt, like write me a blog about this, and boom, you've got it. So I don't know if you've experimented with creating a GPT at the top left, GPT-4, but you can create a GPT specific to anything and you can configure it and train it. I've already created 3 GPTs that are so cool. One's a GPT homepage messaging evaluator. One's a webinar title wizard. The GPT message homepage evaluator I'm going to share with you at the end of this. You can experiment with it, but you can create your own, which also means that the secret weapon is once your story, your message is clear, your framework for that, that is what you train your GPT with. So I may be going too fast for you, but if this is making sense to you, and I hope it is, give me a 1 in the chat. If this is making sense to you, just give me a 1, and then we'll answer. We'll throw out that. Yeah, I'm glad it is, because a lot of people just get flustered about AI. A lot of CEOs like, oh yeah, well we're using AI for this. Like, come on, what are you using it to help you amplify your sales and your marketing? And most people, most CEOs right now are silent. They're investigating, and I want to share. This is a really secret weapon to use. All right, so how are you using Gen AI to amplify your sales and marketing business? And in this one, it's okay to say 0. It is. It's okay to say 0. Oh, that's a heart. So I love you guys if you say 0, because that's fine, because we're all starting somewhere. But I see a lot of zeros and we see a 1. So this is a cool way that you can do it. Now on this sales enablement ladder, just want to call your attention to this second section here, content generation. That's where the OpenAI GPT will become your branded content generator. But if you haven't done all this work, the assessment, validating your message and messaging framework, you haven't done all that work, you're not going to be able to create that GPT that's just awesome. So I just wanted to put that in context. You can't just go to GPT and say, create my best webinar or my best homepage ever. You have to give it a perspective, train it with that. And I hope that makes sense. All right, so the idea of an outside expert really helps you and your team understand why you can't just talk about your solution here, like Buzz Lightyear might talk about his world. By partnering with an outsider will help you get a picture of what it's like from the outside, because it's hard to see how customers see you when you're inside, wrapped up in your innovation. So Masood, great, unbelievably brilliant CEO, has actually have 3 companies right now. With one of his companies was absolutely frustrated with sales declining, 30 demos to 1 sale. My gosh, I wish that on nobody, not even my worst enemies. I was like, okay, maybe I do wish that on my worst enemies. No, just kidding. I don't have any enemies. But large sales team turnover, anxious about limited financial runway. And this was their before site. And as you can look at this, like, what is going on here? What are they selling? Who are they selling it to? I have no idea. So afterwards, a lot cleaner, a lot simpler. Who are they selling it to? Global enterprises, DevOps leaders. What are they selling? Oh, intelligent recovery. That's something new. What are they telling me to stop doing? Using legacy tools. Got it. Much, much better. So afterwards, he tripled at bats for the organization, doubled win rate, and new salespeople are hiring or closing deals, which I love to hear. So I like to say, turn your website into a conversion site. And this is the magnetic messaging framework that I'm going to share with you. And you can see those bits that are in color. Those are the sections, those building blocks for buy-in that you need to make sure that your website, your homepage really has. And the modern websites have less pages, but more content on those pages, so that it's more of a scrolling experience as people are getting to know what you're selling, what problem does it solve, who is it for, what do you want them to do. And this is the framework I'm going to be giving to you, and you can sort of use this and evaluate. You can also use the GPT evaluator that uses this framework and compares it against your website to give you some specific suggestions. Make HOA work. This is a fantastic website, by the way. Make cybersecurity simple. What's interesting about both of these, CEOs, and we've worked with them, is that they both start with make. And this is language that, or turn or make, that's good to use because it immediately positions you as the guide of the story, which then positions your customer as the hero. Be definitive, another great example. Great examples here that I'm putting up in front of you to see. Loom on, meetings off, so good, old way, new way. So these are the sections you'll see in the magnetic messaging framework. What's your authority, your features? You probably have many of these pieces right now, but it's likely that you're missing some pieces, like the stakes piece, for example, often missing from sites. So this is a really good point. So the old way, pre-2022, is you'd have a bucket of keywords that SEO would be good on, right? But the new way is, the GPT and Gemini, the new Google thing that's coming out, they're going to be looking at the voice of intent, because the new AI that these big companies are using to find your site, they're using intent words. So, for example, if you can put in quotes on your homepage words that your customers will be thinking about, like, our business is much more complex now than it was when we started. These are words that speak to the intent place that your prospects are in. And it's important to have words like that instead of just keywords of SEO. So this is the distinction I want to make for you. This is where things are headed, 2024 plus, to intent language. All right, call to actions, the new way magnetic messaging tells you to be very specific, not passive, like on the left, that speak to the win or the value that people will get as the call to action. I say call to actions to be call to value. Very important. A plan needs to be on your site. What's that plan? And then the booking form. So if you still have a form where someone puts their first name and their last name and their whatever, that's not going to work anymore, because in the email that you get from them and you say Tuesday at 2 o'clock work for you, they say no, that doesn't work, and then they vanish. More deals go to die in the back and forth of forms than I care to imagine. So use a booking form like this instead, easy peasy. Someone says, this sounds good, 2 o'clock Tuesday. And once they get there, then you hit them with the form. They're already committed, and the form could be very sophisticated to allow you to qualify them even further. All right, so I like to say, don't hire a marketer. Let me just put up on the screen here the magnetic messaging framework for you. Share handout. So up there next to the offer there on the right side should be the handout. And you should be able to download that. Let me know if you are able to download that PDF. That's the magnetic messaging framework that's going to be in the book. And you should really look at that and see how your website compares. I'm also going to give you a, uh, a link for the GPT. So let's just cover this. The 5 shifts that we talked about today, this is what you need to win. You got to lead a movement. Stop just hyping up your product. You need to start with the problem, not your solution. You need to make your customer the hero, which makes you the trusted guide, you, your brand, your solution. Name your category, your unique category, which is typically a prefix. 5, use the secret weapon, which is hiring an outside expert that's going to help you get to that message and train the GPT, which will generate all that content. So now you have a choice. You could go it alone, go for it, and make these shifts on your own, and I want you to do that. Or you can get expert help. That QR code you see on your screen would be to book that session with me, that audit strategic assessment with me. You also should see it on the top where it says offer of your screen. If you click the offer, you will be able to book that time. So if you book the time, there'll be 3 things. You'll get a personalized sales and marketing gap audit discussion. We'll decide what to do about it together and get a game plan to getting it done. That's what's going to happen. And it's if you qualify, and we're going to talk about qualifications in just a minute. So Andy, need to drop, got it. What do we do if we have a person team to make website changes on the fly? What do we do if we do not have? Oh, that's a good question. I think that's a technical thing that is pretty easily solved. A lot of website development now is done not by technical people, and we can talk about options for that. Appreciate your time today. Absolutely. So I would say if you don't hire an outside expert, you're going to struggle to do this alone. marketers really aren't paid to take an opposing view or take the view of your prospects that confuse your solution with others. You may go back and forth with opinions. You won't likely be using the proven positioning frameworks, and you may continue to waste money on marketing that doesn't do anything. So definitely snap this code if you qualify. And there's the magnetic messaging framework. Yeah, let me give you this chat GPT evaluator link. I'm going to just copy this and I'm going to put this in the chat. So in the chat, I just dropped that in there. That is the GPT evaluator that will, you can just put in your website and it will go through the 12-part magnetic messaging framework to see where it's missing the mark and where it's hitting the mark, all those colored pieces. So I'm going to pause here for a minute. I've done a lot of talking. Which one of these 5 shifts do you think will be the most powerful for you, for your organization? Here we are in January in making your number in 2024. Which one of these? 1. Yep. Sounds great, Dean. Which one of these? 2. Start with the problem. Terrence, Eric, 2. We've got Carlos, Christine, Sasha, Richard, Terrence, Morris, Andy, Meg, Dean, Marie, Larry, Dean. Dean's in here twice. Sam, Marla. Awesome. So type in the chat which one of these 5 shifts you think will be the biggest differentiator for you. 2. Yeah. And why? Type in the chat. Why do you think it is, or what did you what did you get out of this one thing that you got out of this SKO masterclass today about your messaging and marketing? What was that one thing? I'd love to hear it. Cut down the noise. Focus on the customer, not solution. That's a great summary. That's like, what would ChatGPT say in 5 words? I want to be ChatGPT when I grow up. What would ChatGPT say? And what would this whole thing be about? Focus on the customer, not the solution. Love that. Thank you for your time. Awesome. Eric, 4, to differentiate. Yes, that was the 4th shift. Cool. All right, guys. I just want to say I love you guys. If you're here, it means I want to honor you for investing time in your business to get better, to bring your innovation, which you have built. You've worked hard, really hard at creating, because you know it's going to make your customers' lives better. And you're my people if that's the case, because that's why we're all here. That's why I'm here. That's why you're here, is to take the innovations that you've built, you've created, and help make your customers' lives better. With that, I want to thank you. My LinkedIn URL, you can probably find that. I don't know to find it so quick. Just look me up, Greg Rosner. Name the challenge, Morris. Yes, I like that. Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Again, I want to wish you guys the best. Be wildly successful. Keep on rocking in the free world. And if you would like to book a time with me, I'd be honored to learn everything about your business and see how we can help. Cheers, guys. God bless.